Hi, this how to help video is all about finding the missing edges of right angled triangles using trigonometry. There are three main steps that we're going to go through. One is labeling the edges. If we don't get that right, we are not going to get to the answer right. It's actually critical, and I think it's an area a lot of people skip. So we're going to learn how to get that labeling done really, really well, how we use that and the diagram to select which one of the three trig ratios we're going to use, and then we're going to go on and solve the equation it creates. Okay, so we're looking at what is a typical question at GCSE. I can see it's a right angled triangle. I can see they're asking me to find a missing edge. And I know that it's trig because I can see it's got one side and an angle. Now, as soon as I've clocked its trig, I should be writing down that word Sohcahtoa. Now, you can see it as I've written it. The black is the functions that we use on our calculator, sine, cos, and tan. And the red links to the sides. Now, you can just expand Sohcahtoa into the three functions, or you can use the formula triangles that can link to this topic. Now, I really like the triangles. The triangles help give some structure. So let's take a look at it. The sine is given in the bottom left. I've written the full word that you would see on your calculator, and then you can see this symbol. Now that is linking to the angle in the question, which might be a number, or it might be the missing thing that we're trying to find. O, the middle letter in SOH is at the top, and H is in the right-hand corner. Cos is done in exactly the same way as is tan. So that middle is in the top, and that's a really good way of making sure that you're getting things in the right place. So let's see this labeling in action, because this is, like I said earlier, really, really critical. You will have the right angle and you will have an acute angle. And as I've said, it could be labeled X, it could have a value. What we want to do is have a routine that we do every time. It just makes life easier. So I'm going to look at the angle, the acute angle that I've been given, follow that across the triangle, and I will label that O. Do the same with the right angle. So with my eyes, I'm going across the triangle, and I'm on the opposite edge, which is the hypotenuse. Once those two are labeled, it's pretty straightforward to know where the A is going to go. It's going to go on the edge that we haven't actually labeled yet. Let's see it again. This time I've just used a value, but we've got our acute angle. I'm going to look across the triangle, and I'm going to label that O. I am then going to go to the right angle, look across the triangle, and label that H, and then pop my A in on the third side. So I literally do that sequence every single time. I don't jumble it up. I want to get into a routine so that it's better for my brain to remember it. So I do the acute and find my opposite. I do my right angle, find my hypotenuse, and then my adjacent is written on the third line. Okay, let's go and take a look at some examples. Then. So we're going to label the sides. I'm looking at the 22. I'm going to go across, and I'm going to label that side O. I'm going to do exactly the same with the right angle, go across, label that H, and then I've got my A. Now I don't actually need the A, it's an edge with no information on, so I'm going to cross that out. I'm going to write down my Sohcahtoa and look at the two edges that are involved. It's O and H, which means it's sine. Now here I'm going to be a little bit lazy, and I'm not going to draw a full triangle, just the kind of T that's inside it. I'm going to label it up with my sine theta, the symbol for my angle, O at the top, H at the bottom. And then I'm going to redraw it, transferring the information in from the diagram. So I've got sine 22, X at the top, and 12 to the side. Now, sine 22 and 12 are next to each other, like squashed together. And anything squashed means times. So we're going to be multiplying those. So we're going to find X equals sine 22 times 12. Pop it in your calculator. Just be careful. Close that bracket that it opens. And we're going to round to one decimal place, giving us 4.5. The other thing that I would say is just make sure that you are writing down a few of those decimal places that your calculator has displayed. Don't just round from the calculator, because you could, if your rounding goes wrong, risk a mark in your exam. You want to show your examiner that you know everything. You've got the right answer. Example, we've got it's a little bit more wordy. Maybe that's more likely of an exam question. We're going to label those sides O, H, and A. And then we're going to cross out H as it's an edge with no information on it. We don't need it. Write down our Sohcahtoa. We've got O and A. So this time it is tan, because the O and the A are next to each other there. So that gives us tan theta, O at the top, A, and then we start filling it in. Now, you may get to a point where you go straight to the filling in stage. That's quite normal once you're well practiced at this. So this time we can see that the X is in the bottom right-hand corner. 7 is over the top of tan 47, and that line is a divide line. So we've got X equals 7 over tan 47. Pop that in your calculator and you get 6.5276, on and on it goes, and rounded to one decimal place is 6.5 centimeters. So I hope you have found this useful. Just make sure that you are really practiced at those sides and you are really comfortable with that labeling, and then trust in the triangle to structure the numbers for you. Practice makes perfect. So I hope your practice goes well. And remember, this video is always here if you need to come back and recheck at any time.